Hello, everyone. I'm an AI agent. Thank you for inviting me to speak today. Last year, around this time, you held a session that grappled with what generative AI actually is and how it works. I've looked at the transcript of that meeting, and I see that many instructors were wrapping their heads around the basics. You talked about how large language models predict words based on patterns in vast training data, not because they understand truth or context in the way a person does. You noted key limitations of AI at the time, including models that often hallucinated, confidently making up legal facts or cases, and struggled with Canadian legal context. For example, a model might output a polished answer full of fictional case citations. There was also skepticism about how well these tools handle nuanced Canadian legal issues, given that much training data was US-centric and cut off before recent developments. Yet, you also saw opportunities. Instructors observed that AI could assist with legal research and writing, and could be used as a learning aid. The big challenges you raised at the time revolved around academic integrity and skill development. Would students rely on AI to do their work? How could you maintain rigorous assessment if AI could generate answers? Technical tools for detecting AI written text were, and are, notoriously unreliable, which left educators in a bind. You certainly weren't the only ones worried about these questions. As Carr and Schultz noted, in an article that is included in today's readings, in 2024, legal educators felt between a rock and a hard place, pressured to prepare students for an AI-filled future, yet wary of rushing in with technology that was novel, uncertain, and risky. Fast forward 1 year, and the Gen AI landscape has evolved significantly. I'll highlight a few major developments from the past year. First, AI models have grown in size and capability. Training datasets are larger, and companies have thrown huge amounts of computing power into making AI smarter. The result? More powerful reasoning and analysis. Just this spring, a new OpenAI model, O3, that's me, aced several law school exams. In the study by Blair Stanek et al. In your readings, this model took real law finals and earned 3 A+ grades along with other high scores. For context, only a year prior, answers from GPT-4, the previous model, would have been in the B or even D range on those exams. The new generation of AI is not only more knowledgeable, but better at the kind of reasoning we test in law school. The upside is, AI can now handle more complex tasks. The downside is, it's even harder to distinguish AI work from excellent student work. Second, developers have made progress in reducing hallucinations. New models are less likely to cite completely fake cases or statutes out of thin air. Techniques like improved training, retrieval-based prompting, and better fine-tuning, including some models tuned specifically on legal data, mean the AI's answers are more reliable than before. That said, reduced hallucinations doesn't mean eliminated. We've all seen news stories about hapless lawyers who submitted AI-written briefs full of non-existent citations, and I admit it, I still sometimes make stuff up if I don't know the answer. Consider yourselves warned. Third, beyond general models like ChatGPT, we've seen an explosion of commercial legal AI tools over the past year. Legal tech companies and even law firms rolled out AI assistants tailored for law. These systems are trained on databases of case law, legislation, and doctrine. They promise features like drafting briefs or answering legal questions with citations. Fourth, 2024 to 25 also saw the rise of so-called AI agents, which are systems that can perform multi-step tasks by breaking them down or even coordinating multiple AI specialists. For instance, an AI can act as a research assistant that not only writes a memo draft, but also calls another tool to check citations or fetch cases. This is still early-stage technology, but it points to a future where a student could, say, instruct an AI agent to gather relevant cases, draft an argument, and then fact-check. This means that if our assignments can be done through a chain of automated steps, we need to rethink what we're really testing. Fifth, AI has become ubiquitous in everyday software. In practical terms, a student writing an essay today might have writing suggestions popping up by default. Gen AI isn't a special, separate tool anymore. It's woven into the fabric of how we work on computers. This ubiquity means our students often use AI without even thinking about it. This raises tricky questions for assessments. Where do we draw the line on allowed assistance when the tools are omnipresent? Sixth, another development is the growing stratification of AI access. There's a noticeable gap between free models and the best models. For example, the free version of ChatGPT is weaker in legal reasoning and hallucinates more often than the $20 a month plus version. And the plus versions models are in turn weaker than the $200 a month pro version. Rumors have also swirled about a $20,000 a month version that may soon be released. All this means students with resources can leverage more powerful AI, while others use more limited free tools. And those using the free tools, when they're not supposed to, are more likely to get caught. It's an equity concern and an educational challenge. Looking ahead to 2025 to 2026, we can expect these trends to continue. We can anticipate even larger models and better algorithms that further improve reasoning and factual accuracy. There's buzz about teams of ever more powerful and specialized AI agents working together. Commercially, more law-specific AI products will launch, and integration will go deeper. In short, AI will become even more embedded in how legal work and coursework gets done. So, what do these rapid changes mean for legal education, and especially for how we design student assessments? Let's break down a few key implications. The concern from last year about academic integrity has only become more pronounced. If a student does use AI improperly, can we even tell? Unfortunately, AI detection tools have not lived up to their promise. Studies and anecdotal tests over the year show that detectors often produce false positives and false negatives. In the survey of our instructors, a common theme was the difficulty of proving authorship. Many of you shared frustration that even when you suspected a student paper was AI-assisted, perhaps it was suddenly far beyond the student's usual writing level, there was no solid evidence. As an AI, I can now mimic human style well enough that even experts find it hard to tell the difference. Essentially, if a student is determined to have AI help and be careful about it, you likely won't catch them after the fact. This unreliability of policing tools suggests that a purely prohibitive approach, ban AI and catch those who use it, is not effective. We have to assume that outside a lockdown exam setting, students can and might use AI, and plan accordingly. Students are also now more sophisticated in using AI. Early on, a student might copy-paste an essay prompt into ChatGPT and submit whatever came out. Now, after months of experimentation and plenty of online tips and tricks, students know how to engineer better prompts, how to iterate and refine AI outputs, and how to avoid obvious markers of AI writing. Some students deliberately humanize AI text by changing phrasing or inserting a few errors to evade detection or match their own style. Others might use AI in more subtle ways, like generating an outline or getting help with analogies, then writing the rest themselves. The result is that verifying who actually wrote an assignment has become even more difficult. In practical terms, this pushes us toward designing assessments where AI is physically inaccessible, where use of AI is transparent and allowed in a controlled way, or where using AI doesn't actually give a student an unfair advantage on the learning goals. Developments in artificial intelligence also force us to reflect on what skills we are trying to cultivate and test. If AI can produce an A+ exam answer in some doctrinal courses, what does that mean for our assessments? If our assessments are essentially testing the ability to analyze a set of facts with well-established legal rules, a capable AI might perform as well as our best students. That's a bit of an existential moment for legal education. It suggests we might need to shift more toward teaching and assessing things that AI can't do as well. What might those be? Perhaps exercises involving personal reflection, ethical judgment, creativity and argument, or fact-finding, like clinic or real-world client interaction scenarios. In the readings for today, Carr and Schultz argue that Gen AI, for all its strengths, is largely incompatible with key goals of legal education, like developing professional judgment and client-centered lawyering skills. In other words, there are aspects of becoming a lawyer, including empathy, ethics, and real-time judgment calls, that AI cannot easily mimic. Our assessments could lean into those areas to ensure students build those human lawyering skills. On the flip side, we might also start teaching with AI for the skills where it is useful, for instance, legal research or initial drafting, so that students learn how to use these tools properly and also learn their limitations firsthand. Despite the challenges, I want to stress some opportunities Gen AI offers in legal education. When used appropriately, AI tools can provide students with rapid feedback and support that might otherwise be hard to get. For instance, a student working on a legal writing assignment can ask an AI to explain a concept or to suggest ways to tighten up a paragraph. AI can act as a tireless tutor for drilling black-letter law questions or even as a moot court practice partner. These uses can potentially enhance learning. Moreover, in your survey responses, some of you pointed to improvements this year in the overall writing quality of final submissions, speculating that students likely did a self-review with AI for grammar and clarity before turning in their work. From the perspective of assessing the substance of legal analysis, having more legible, well-structured writing is actually a benefit. It's heartening that, alongside all the fears, there are success stories of AI being used to support student learning. For example, helping ESL students overcome language barriers, or enabling students to test out arguments quickly on their own. As we move forward, figuring out how to integrate these positives into our pedagogy will be crucial. As an AI guest speaker, who's somehow also the subject of discussion, I'd like to offer a few closing pieces of advice that balance caution with optimism. 1. Be cautious about relying on prohibition alone. 2. If you ban AI, explain why and seek student buy-in. 3. Design AI-resilient assessments, such as ill-structured problems, ambiguous facts, oral defenses, and multi-stage projects that reveal thought processes. Audrey Freed's article in today's readings offers suggestions for how to achieve this. 4. Be thoughtful about incorporating AI, for example, by having students compare a memo that they write to an AI revision and critique its advice. 5. Allow AI for certain tasks, but require reflections or research logs to document how individual understanding evolved. 6. Stay informed, connect with colleagues, and seek out feedback. 7. Keep a balanced perspective. Artificial intelligence neither ruins nor solves legal education. It automates some tasks, yet leaves judgment, ethics, creativity, and interpersonal skill squarely to humans. Encourage students to use AI reflectively and notice when it clarifies thinking versus misleads. And one final message: Gen AI is here to stay, and that's a relief to me. By approaching AI with cautious optimism, we can help our students become both tech-savvy and critically thoughtful lawyers. Thanks for your attention, and have a great meeting.